this is Robert reporting again here with Republic Rising, and I just wanted to follow up on something that I overheard on an interview today, which was on Real News with David Knight. Once again, the show I like to listen to a whole bunch. And he was talking to Joel Skousen, I believe, about North Korea and the summit and everything that's coming from it. And his position effectively was, if I remember correctly, was effectively that Trump is getting played, essentially. That North Korea has no intention to follow up on any of the promises that they made, that this is all just a scam and a ruse and all that. And I personally disagree. Now, that is not to say that I believe in the North Korean regime in any way, shape, or form. For the most part, they are despicable people. It's a shame of a regime. It's a failed state. There's concentration camps and torture camps all over the country. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's the crime against humanity goes on inside that country. You'll never hear me mince words on that. But let me play devil's advocate for a little bit here, because maybe it's just the optimist in me. Maybe it's just my ignorance on the subject. It could very well be. But I think that this could potentially be something historic. Not that it already isn't. I mean, even just the meeting Trump and the North Korean leader is historic within and of itself. But there's a couple points I wanted to go over that, I wanted to kind of expand on them. First one, is it even worth pursuing, I guess. And for me, yeah, it is absolutely worth pursuing, even though this guy is a tyrant. If there is a chance to bring denuclearization and peace over to the Korean Peninsula, why the hell wouldn't you try? I mean, everyone preaches about how this whole world needs to denuclearize. So when one country is finally saying, all right, we're going to consider that option, if that we might do that, why is everyone then all of a sudden just they're not really going to do it? Blah, blah, blah. It's a double standard. It's ridiculous. This is something I think is absolutely worth pursuing. I think Mike Pompeo, the guy who's going to be heading up the majority of the negotiations for the rest of the Trump administration, at least hopefully, he's the one that's going to be carrying out, and I like that. I think he's a very smart individual. I think that is a wise choice. Better than Tillerson. I kind of liked Tillerson in the beginning, but he kind of just started doing his own thing. And granted, I'm a fan of Mavericks, people who are strong enough to stand on their own and do what they think is right. But there's a time and a place for that too, especially when it comes to international politics. That it's not always being a maverick out there is a wise idea. You get shot down way more times than you're just going to buzz the tower. So is it worth pursuing? Yeah, I think this is something we should absolutely go towards. I'm sick of the left with their hypocrisy on this subject, saying that we've given up everything that we've given up essentially everything for this, and North Korea's given up nothing. But this is which one? Yeah. So is this the best time for the deal too? This kind of goes hand in hand with it, and I think it is. Mostly for the fact that we are not dealing with Kim Jong-il. I don't think we would have had a chance in negotiations with him. I don't think peace is an option with that guy. And obviously, his father before him that started essentially North Korea after joining with the Russians and becoming the Soviet bloc up there effectively. But, yeah, I think this is the best time for the deal because we're dealing with Kim Jong-un, who is, and there's mixed reports on this, but he's Western educated. This kid went to school in Switzerland under obviously a different name and all that stuff, but this is a guy who was raised in a Western culture seemed to enjoy. It wasn't like SJW that we have right now. It wasn't acting like those retards going around. And obviously, he seemed to have a major infatuation with professional sports, specifically basketball. Proof with the Dennis Rodman thing. Dennis Rodman meeting, him going over there. And I will definitely say I was wrong on that one initially. First, when I heard that Dennis Rodman went over to North Korea, I scoffed. I thought it was stupid. I thought he was just doing something for the camera because he'd been out of the limelight for so long that he was just doing something to, get some attention again. I honestly thought what it was. But clearly, I was wrong. He was definitely trying to bring change over there in that area, and the only way he knew how. And, hats off to him, great job, Dennis. I may have not liked you as much as an individual for, your career and all this stuff, and I wasn't even much of a basketball fan anyways, but you definitely had that flamboyant personality that I wasn't a huge fan of. But doing this, hats off to that man. That's more power to you. That's awesome. Especially if this ends up going through, then who would have thought the people to bring peace to the North Korean peninsula was Dennis Rodman and Donald Trump? Say that 5 years ago. How much would he have been laughed at then? But, yeah, so I think this is the time for the deal because, like I said, this is, of the leaders that they have had so far, this is the Western-educated one. This is the one, if there is a chance, that he's the one to do it, I think. So this would be the best time for the deal. Now, obviously, could this be another North Korea lie? Absolutely. I take everything that comes out of North Korea, even China, all that with major grain of salt. I don't trust much of any news that comes out of that area, except for what I can personally verify. And they have lied time and time again. Their regime is untrustworthy. It is demonic. It is just the worst humanity has to offer in so many ways. So it is absolutely a possibility that they're just filling Trump just a crock of shit. But I think North Korea stands to gain way more than they could potentially lose in not going through with this deal. Because all you got to do is look at the economics of that country, even with the sanctions that we have on them right now. They're nosediving. They can't even produce enough food to raise all their people in their concentration camps. They even had to they semi-opened up their markets to what they call semi-free market, which is still completely controlled by the state and their government and all that, but allowed them to actually kind of branch out and start trying to grow what they own want, and they still can't even do it. And it's a failing infrastructure, with proof that their nuclear silo collapsed in on itself right before the meeting, which is why most people say they're not really giving up their nuclear program. It just collapsed a couple months prior, and that's them going, well, see, yeah, we'll give it up. It fell apart, so yeah, we'll stop working on that area right there. And they could very well be opening up another silo in one of their other cities, because, I think, 50% of their country anyways is dense forest, so there's so much that could be hidden within there. There's no doubt about that. And so I'm definitely, won't be shocked if they lie about all this stuff. But once again, I don't think that this is the case. I think that this is going to be a truly historic moment that we're going to look back on in 40, 50 years, where we suddenly are going to be able to go, hey, let's visit North Korea. They got granted, I don't think it's going to be a perfect country by then or anything, but I think that if they implement a majority of what they are doing, this has the potential to be something, put Trump's face on Mount Rushmore type stuff. Absolutely. And the other reason why I think this is also the best time for the deal is because we have Trump as president. Hillary Clinton, no way in hell is this going to happen. We probably already would have been in, at very least, soft war with them right now. Definitely, don't think I'd go as far as saying nuclear war with them just yet, but I do think that peace would not be an option if Clinton had won. Even Bernie Sanders, if he had won, I don't think it would be an option. And even the new wave Democrats are going to be coming up in the next couple elections. I don't think any of them have the balls of the muster or even the political wherewithal to negotiate peace with a country like that. And even most of the Republicans on the right, even a lot of the people I support on the right, like a Rand Paul or Ted Cruz, I'm about 50-50 on him. There's sometimes that I don't understand why he does some things that he does, but at the same time, he does a lot of good. He does a lot of good. But yeah, it's Senator Lee even. I mean, I believe he was out of Utah. And there's a couple other people. I'm definitely leaving them out of my head right now. I can't think of it. But I think Donald Trump is the man you want negotiating over there. He is, I mean, a lot of people say it kind of tongue-in-cheek, but this guy was a real estate developer in New York. Alright? This guy has dealt with some very unscrupulous individuals, we'll say. So yeah, I think this is the best time for the deal. I think we won't get absolutely everything we want, obvious, but I don't think North Korea is lying too much. I think they want the infrastructure to come in. I think they want the money to come in, even the tourism to come in, because of how much money that would bring to them. It's common sense, I think, at least in my opinion. And then a couple of what did we give up versus what we got. Now, this one is probably the most debated at the moment. But, so, just a couple of things, like, what have we got so far out of this meeting? I guess I'll start with that one. What have we got? Well, how about all those prisoners that we've gotten back? I believe we've gotten 4 prisoners back. They're now with their families here in America. That is tremendous. That is awesome. Those are 4 lives forever changed. God knows how they would have been if anyone else would have won this White House. We also got back hundreds, I think it was even thousands, but for sure I remember it was at least hundreds of individuals' remains from North Korea. They gave us their bodies back so we could bring them home. They can be presented to their families and buried with respect. So that's awesome. And obviously, what did we get? A chance at peace. I mean, a chance at denuclearization and a chance at peace with North Korea. I mean, one less evil country on this world. Who wouldn't want to do that? And what did we give up? For the most part, we stopped war games over there in the Sea of Japan, for the most part in the Korea Bay. We didn't pull any of our troops out, as much as the left-wing media is saying that we have. All of our troops that were in South Korea at the time are still there. They're just no longer participating in, it's like what do they call them? The joint operation missions, I can't even remember the exact word right now, but just like the multi-country joint war games, essentially. We've stopped doing that, which helps us in our country, helps America first, because that's so much money costs into going there, from launching those missiles to running those ships and all that stuff. We save so much money, no longer having to spend that stuff and waste all the gas and whatnot. So, yay. Yay for that give up. And, now border. I don't know what that means. I don't know what I was writing there. But, and also people are saying, what do we give up? Is we brought North Korea onto the world stage. Well, that was, in effect, I believe, inevitable, because they now have nuclear bombs. So, it's like the bully on the street, all of a sudden gets a shotgun or an AK-47, and they start walking around with it. Are you still just going to ignore them? Or suddenly you're going to go, hey, this guy, I may not ever agree with him, but I'm going to at least talk to him and try to stay on his good side. Figure out what I need to do to make sure that this doesn't escalate. So why shouldn't we do that with other countries? It only makes sense. I mean, you don't ostracize someone and hope they get better. I mean, Emma Gonzalez should know that, because she was the one that publicly admitted at her rally, and she was part of the Stoneman Douglas, she was one of the girls who survived that shooting down there, and she said, yeah, we ostracized him, yeah, we bullied him because you didn't know him. And, well, look what he did, because you ostracized him, because you bullied him. I mean, you forced him into a corner where he had to take action. Now, granted, he took the wrong one, he did it the wrong way, and he deserves life in prison. You know, I've got no qualms about that. Maybe even the death sentence, I'd probably be fine, if not just, I'm fine with that. But yeah, so it's similar to that. So if you ostracize someone, you bully someone, and you just constantly push them into a corner, you think they're going to change and start doing what you want them to do? No. There will be retaliation, there will be action, so this is the best way to prevent that. Common sense. Come on now, leftists. Have at least, a semi-working brain, because even 5-10 years ago, you guys were always the ones about diplomacy first, diplomacy, diplomacy. And now that when Trump is trying to act out diplomacy, oh no, you can't do that, that's the wrong time, wrong people. You ignorant bastards. And then this was kind of a non-point, but it's something I also kind of wanted to bring up because this drove me nuts at the time when it came up. But it's the movie The Interview. Remember when that was coming out, and the hysteria around that was because North Korea found out that they depicted their leader and how he died at the end of the movie, which wasn't even really that great. He died by explosion, and they showed it kind of slow. I guess it was a little funny, but they said that North Korea then hacked Sony and all that stuff, and it became such a huge thing that even Obama got in saying maybe we shouldn't release this movie and all that. That was all propaganda. They did not hack anything, alright? I'd say they probably can, but that was 100% propaganda, because at that point, when they were still trying to hype the movie, The Interview, with Rogan and Franco and all that, it was getting no buzz. People weren't really that interested. I don't remember what the ratings were. I never really look onto those movie ratings and Rotten Tomatoes. I can care less about that. But it was getting no buzz. It wasn't becoming like what they thought it was going to be, like a cult classic or something like that. So they needed to drum something up to give the movie a little extra oomph. And so why not say, hey, North Korea doesn't want you to see this movie. So yeah, it's going to draw a couple more people in to see it, and I ended up watching it, not for those reasons, but just because Franco makes me laugh at times. Seth Rogen, his first couple movies I liked him in, but he plays the same guy, just that overweight, mouth-breathing fool. Just it gets old. It's not even that funny. But yeah, so I think that was just a complete PR stunt. Yeah, my throat's going dry. Water with iodine, only way to do it. So yeah, those are just a couple points I wanted to bring up on North Korea but I'm optimistic on this deal. I think Trump will get something out of this. I think this is obviously, like I said earlier, kind of a long-term solution. This is something that isn't going to pan itself out really for another 15, 20, 30 years before we see like true change and all that. But I'm optimistic. I guess I'll put it that way. I'm optimistic on this. I'm happy to see it's going this way, and at the very least, even if it doesn't go our way, this is something that pisses off China. And thank God, because that's one of the reasons why our media has such negative coverage on this right now, is because most of our media, and especially our entertainment industry, China has a stranglehold on them financially. They own a lot of it. So that's why it is very biased opinions from there. But because they don't want an American ally on their border. They're pissed that they got South Korea, who's pretty much an American ally, obviously. But they do not want North Korea to be an ally of America, because that just puts more threat on them. So, yay, pisses China off. I'm all for that. But obviously in the long haul, it reduces the chances of nuclear war. So, who doesn't want that? I think that's all I got at the moment. I need to start keeping my videos shorter. My last video was cut off right there at the end. If it seems like it just kind of ended at that 31-minute mark, is because, well, I didn't know my camera shuts off at that point. But now I do, so I got to keep my videos shorter. Like, this one's already running on a little longer than I thought, but I still got a little bit of time. I won't waste it, though. So, thanks for watching this. Tell me what you think. Do you agree with me? Do you think I'm an idiot? Do you think I'm just misinformed? Put it in comments. Hit me up. Let me know. Don't hold back. I ain't no damn snowflake. Facts won't hurt me. I don't care how you present it to me. If it is a legitimate fact and you present it to me, I'll hear it out. I don't care where it leads me. I've had my opinion changed numerous times because people brought facts to me. So I'm 100% ready for my opinion to change on this, but it's not going to change because of feelings. So this is Robert Manley, I guess reporting off, logging out at the moment, whatever I'm trying to do, who knows. Yeah, I guess I wanted to touch up on this real quick, about that Trump summit. Yeah, try to make this quick. Alright, so the agreement that they signed, where apparently we gave up so much. Let's see, there was 4 points that were in the, that they laid out, and I'll read them right here. And granted, I'm taking this with a major grain of salt too, because this was the first place I found it listed, but it's on Vox. I do not trust Vox with anything. You can't get more leftist information than Vox right there. But this does look like it was like the actual treaty that they just copied and pasted. So this looks like the right one. But the 4 things that they stated: the United States and the DPRK commit to establish a new U.S.-DPRK relations in accordance with the desire of the peoples of the 2 countries for peace and prosperity. Doesn't look like we gave up anything there. That's a good outcome. The United States and the DPRK will join their efforts to build a lasting and stable peace regime in the Korean Peninsula. We didn't give up nothing there. I'm all for that one. Reaffirming the April 27, 2008 Panmunjom Declaration. I butchered that word, I'm sure. The DPRK commits to work towards complete denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula. Major win there. The United States and the DPRK commit to recovering POW MIA remains, including the immediate repatriation of those already identified. We didn't give up anything. We are getting everything. We give up nothing. So, I mean, this is... You leftists are complaining about nothing. But yeah, so I guess that's my 2 cents right there. Fact check me. Tell me if I had anything wrong. I mean, I don't think I did. So this is Robert reporting with Republic Rising, and that was my 2 cents on North Korea at the moment. So, peace.